In times of adversity, um, you have to look to your past victories for encouragement and proof that all things work together for your good, and that any battle that you face, that you'll come out on the other side on top. And sometimes when we're facing adversity and hard times, injustice, um, it's easy to get overwhelmed and feel like it's never going to work out, or imagine that things are going to get worse, or yeah, that's going to get worse. And that's using your imagination in the wrong direction. We were born dreamers, and that's true. We're made that way. We're built that way to dream. And we were given an imagination. I don't know if any other animals in the animal kingdom were given an imagination, but we have the gifts of to be able to imagine a better situation, and using your imagination in the right direction is imagining things working out. Now, people may say, like, that's naive. Negative people say, I'm just being realistic, I'm just being honest. And then they express their negative viewpoint, which are really predictions, right? They're predicting doom, right? They're using their imagination in the opposite direction. They're imagining that it's going to get worse, and they're predicting doom. And then they tell you, I'm just being realistic, I'm just being honest. People don't like me to be honest. They call it negative. Well, that's because it's using your imagination to imagine something worse happening, instead of using your imagination to expect something better to happen. And when you expect something better to happen, when you expect positive results, you then encourage yourself. And encouraging yourself is not futile. Encouraging yourself gives you what? Courage, right? You know, you need courage. Courage is strength. Courage gives you perseverance, okay? Courage gives you the what you need, the fortitude that you need to endure, to be able to see something through. And if you have you're using your imagination, or other people are using their imagination to speak and expect the worst to happen tomorrow instead of things to get better for tomorrow, then it is deflating and it is weakening you. Okay? If you go into a fight, let's say, we going into a fight, somebody trying to take our man, like, you trying to take my man, right? Okay, if you if you go into that fight, I'm not recommending you go into that fight. But anyway, if you go into a fight thinking this girl is better than me, this guy is better than me, they just gonna take my significant other from me, then you've already lost. I mean, how can you win if you already think that person's better than you? Anyway, that's a silly example. But the whole point is, okay, so imagine that you were, but if you think like, can't nobody take my man, can't nobody take my woman from me, like, I'm all that in a bag of chips, like, you dusty. If you go in thinking that way, then you're like, you have strength, you have courage, you just dismiss any nonsense. But if you go in thinking that, you're less than, that, you're small, that you can't make it, that it's not going to get better, that it's going to get worse, like, oh, then this is going to happen and that's going to happen, then it weakens you. It weakens your will. And all we have is really our will, like your will to live, your will to succeed, your will to do anything. If you want to get a job, first you have to have the will to get a job. But if somebody were telling you that's not going to happen, they don't make jobs for people like you, no job, there's no job. You know what I mean? They're not going to pay you 15 an hour. There's no job that's going to pay you 15 an hour. There's no job that's going to pay you 30 an hour. There's no job that's going to pay you this an hour. This weakens you, so you don't even go looking for it, right? And that's the same thing with any battle, any adversity. You have to expect a positive outcome so that you have the strength to endure to that positive outcome. And it's about endurance. I mean, I was thinking of all these, scripture verses that say the race is given to those who endure to the end, not to those who are strong, but those who endure to the end. But what is endurance? Endurance is strength, but you have to have fortitude to endure, right? You have to expect a better outcome to endure, because if you don't expect a better outcome, if you don't expect any fruit from your labor, then you'll just give up, right? You'll just give up. It's not worth it. It's not going to work out. You don't even know it's not going to work out. But because you are imagining that it's not going to work out, you're just not doing it. You're just not applying to that job. You're just not going to look for whatever it is that you could possibly look for. This is the reason why people, don't do a lot of things. It's because they don't believe that they can. They don't have the courage to even pursue it because they think it's futile. And there are things that people are accomplishing every day. People are going out and getting jobs that pay 15 an hour every day. More than that. They ain't even got no certifications. It's about going out and looking for it, but just different things, not even in a job situation, anything. You need courage, and you need the belief and the imagination that there's a possibility, that the glass is half full, and as far as the possibility that this thing will work out, this thing will get better. And I think that applies to everything, regardless of what we're talking about. Even with civil rights, in order for the civil rights that our ancestors already accomplished for us, our grandparents already accomplished for us. Imagine if Harriet Tubman, she had narcolepsy. The lady had narcolepsy, could not read. This lady traveled from Eastern Shore, Maryland, all the way up to Canada, following the North Star, because she had a dream that God told her to leave and go to what she said was Canaan land. And she made the trip lots of times with narcolepsy, taking naps. And she's a little lady. I've seen the pictures. With a gun. Telling grown men. She will kill you if you want to go back. She imagined that she could, in worst situations that we ever would face. She imagined that she could, and she did. a whole bunch of times. Imagine if she would have used her imagination in the opposite direction and would have said, nah, like what other people who were in bondage said. No, it's impossible. I can't do it. I can't read. I can't write. I I I'm too this is it's enormous. It's beyond me, right? It's beyond me. It'll never work out. Her own husband told her it wasn't gonna work out, and he stayed behind. And she went back and get him. He thought she was dead because it was so impossible to him. It was so impossible to him that he thought she was dead and married somebody else in bondage. And she going back and forth, taking people, creating pathways for people, following a star, avoiding sick and demented racists, avoiding the law, avoiding dogs. From Maryland to Canada, from South Carolina to Canada. I mean, she kept increasing the mileage on foot because she believed, she imagined that she could. And she didn't let anybody tell her that it's not going to work out. I'm just being a realist. I'm just being realistic. These people are not being realistic. They're just being non-believers. They're just people who believe that nothing is possible. And therefore, they're right. If you don't believe it's possible, then that's the first step. That's the first step. You can't take a step if you don't believe it's there. You know what I mean? You can't go to the store if you don't think the store is there. The store is around the corner, but you don't think the store is there, so you don't go.